Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of a double review because I kind of forgot to review either of these guys. Today we got the only two currently Studio Series Transformers 1 figures, that being Optimus and Megatron, very fitting for a first wave. And Optimus seems really good, while Megatron I have just a couple bit of problems. Let's go through them first. It's taking the figures out of the picture. Let's look at the box art. On the front, really nice 3D render of that Orion Pax, aka Optimus Prime, that we did see in that phenomenal movie. Go see it, by the way. It's a great movie. 112 as usual. Surprised it's not Orion Pax slash Optimus Prime. I would have thought they would do that. Same with Megatron, but I guess not. But on the side, nice little usual Studio Series box art. On the back, same as usual, showing off that he can hold the Matrix, although I haven't found out how to properly make him do that. But yeah. And on the left, on the other side, it's got another really nice 3D render of Optimus Prime. Grabbing on Megatron, same thing, really nice 3D render. Almost looks like his D-16 design, which is a little weird compared to his Megatron. You know, 114 as usual. On the side, again, nothing crazy, just the normal blue and the 114. On the back, nothing crazy, shows the backdrop, which we will look at in just a second. And a couple product renders, then on the side another 3D render. So definitely not bad, and these guys do have the same display base, so I'm just going to take this out right now and show it off to you. As you can see, I don't take these out, so. But here's what the display base looks like. It's a really nice view of the Cybertron we got in Transformers 1, which is actually peak design, by the way. It's a really great design for Cybertron, I really like it. But yeah, so like I said, they have the exact same display base. So yeah, let's get into the actual figures themselves. So taking a look at Orion, aka Optimus, he definitely does not look bad. He looks really good. He does have this kind of weird shade of gray on him. It's almost like a yellowish. I kind of like it because it kind of looks accurate, but I also wish they just gone the normal white or gray. He's got a lot of really nice detail. I love the shade of red that they went. It's not really like Optimus-y. It's usually brighter red, but I like it on this guy. But you know, he's got a decent backpack, but it's all one piece. So there's not really much you can do about that because you gotta remember these are deluxe class figures. So a lot of detail on the legs. I really wish this was silver, but again, deluxe. So you can only get so far. Tabs showing up, but oh well. And yeah, you can even see the Matrix in there, which I really like because a lot of the times they have a Matrix, but you cannot see it. And so I really like that you can actually see it, and this actually opens up to reveal a very, very tiny and very losable, so be careful. Why can't I get it out? There we go. Oh, see, I almost just lost it right there. There we go. There it is. But yeah, it's a very tiny, very losable Matrix. I mean, look at it in my hand, bro. I mean, like, I got, like, decent sized hands, and it's like, look at this, bro. Like, you will lose this thing, so be very careful. And luckily, they put it as a different component in the box, so this thing won't be getting stolen, which is actually awesome. I was a little worried when I saw this guy in stores, because he didn't have his Matrix on him, so I was really worried it got stolen, but it was there. But really, really nice face sculpt. Looks just like he did when he had that battle mask on. They've been doing really good with their head sculpts recently. I've been loving how almost all the new figures head sculpts have been coming out. But that's what Orion kind of looks like. Now let's go through articulation. So looking at articulation, it's a little bit wonky, but it works. Head is on a ball joint, although, so it can look left, right. It can tilt just ever so slightly. Can't really look down, but when you get to that up profile, like, wow. I don't know if that's intentional or if it's due to transformation, but it looks really good. You can get in some really dynamic poses with that. So that's nice. And then the other cool thing about this figure, he has butterfly joints. There's a very limited amount of figures I've seen that actually have butterfly joints, especially in a deluxe line. You know, like this guy who, his reveal will be coming out soon. He had butterflies, but he's a commander, so obviously he's going to have butterflies. But like this guy, it's impressive. Shoulders can go out, although they are a little bit blocked because of the wheels. So they can really only go that far unless you like kind of tilt them up. But he does have trigger happy shoulders, so they do look a little bit weird when you lift them up all the way. And then elbows, 90-degree, bicep rotation, wrist swivel. These can turn, so you can do that iconic shot where he's kind of like using his smokestack as a flamethrower. Really cool right there. And then here's the weirdest thing, right? So he has waist swivel, but it's like you kind of gotta move it back right too. It's like up top. It's really weird. I get it for transformation, but it looks really weird in some poses. But I mean, it's not unbearable. Legs kick out ever so slightly past 90. Can bend a fair degree past 90. Toes can pivot forward due to transformation, and really nice ankle tilt. So this guy is definitely packing in that articulation category. His knees are like super tight as well, like almost too tight to the point where I'm like almost like transforming him because of how tight his legs are. Turning to accessories, we already looked at the Matrix, but here we have his Energon Axe. This was yellow in the movie. I don't know why they decided to cast it in blue plastic, because like it did like have like a faint tint of blue on the outside, but it was mostly yellow, so I don't really know why they picked this. Probably concept art is my best guess, but it doesn't look bad, and it kind of just pegs right into the hand just like that. It looks seamless, it looks real, so that works too. He also comes with obviously his Matrix that we looked at, and then he actually comes with, it's not really accessorized as a jetpack, but this is like the front of his guns, although you can kind of like clip it on back here, and it kind of turns out to be his jetpack that he kind of had during that race and later on in the movie. So yeah, this guy, not really packing in the accessories, although I bet you that was what they could afford to make this guy as good as he is. Alright, now turning to transformation, you're going to want to make sure you have all of his accessories kind of taken off here. You kind of put them to the side. And the first thing I like to do is just come down to the legs and snap these into place and make sure those are fully straight. Then you'll see there's like this thing right here. You kind of just rotate this around just like so. You can tap in the legs if you want, but they're probably not going to stay tapped in. So next thing you want to do is you want to take his head here. You want to rotate it all the way around and then lift it up and then just shoot it right into that cavity. And then, yeah, so then you're going to want to lift this up, give this a good little rotation, and then I would just leave it right there. But then what you're going to want to do is kind of get these out the way. Go ahead and give this guy a good old rotate, pop this up. This will reveal the grill, which I think is some really nice engineering, actually. Pop that open, and then close this again. Then you're going to want to lift this hip skirt up, and then bend right there. So you're kind of looking like something like this. Then make sure all that's straightened out. Get that normal. And then here's this really cool thing. You kind of take these shoulders and you just pull them out, and you get this. It's really cool. But then you kind of just bend them down. Sometimes stuff will snap off, but it's not that big of a problem. Why isn't this working? Hold up. There we go. So you kind of have to, you might have to unbend the legs for the clearance, but you kind of got to get this shoulder piece to just fit in right there. And then there's a tab that will peg into this right under here, and you just peg that right in, just like so. Repeat the same process on the other side over here. That pegs in, then rotate this and just snap this right on. Then if you had to unbend your legs, just bend them right back up. You might have to bend the knees a little bit for this next part because there's a couple tabs around the other side of the arm that are going to peg into those red tabs right there. Snap that in, and then have the fist grab this little hole right here, just like so. Do the exact same thing on the other side, just like so. If the fists don't stay in, it's not that big of a problem. But then you have the base transformation, and then you're going to want to take out your smokestacks here, and then on these bottom set of holes, you're going to just, I don't know if they're smokestacks, I don't know what they are, but you're going to want to plug them in. I always forget which way they're supposed to go. Yeah, it's this way. Plug him in. Boom, there he is. If you want to throw the axe on there, you can. You just got to spread the legs out a little bit here. There's two little tabs on each side. That will simply go underneath the knee pads, and then you just clip that right back in. And there you go. There is Orion Pax in his vehicle mode. It's definitely not bad. It looks pretty dang spot on to what we did see in the movie. So, I mean, honestly, yeah, there's not really many complaints, except the fact that kind of like the fists are kind of sticking out from some angles. It's kind of hidden on here, but then the second you flip this guy over, it's very apparent. Also, these arms like to pop off a lot. Like a lot. Especially when you're taking them out of vehicle mode and the robot mode, they pop off a lot. So we'll come back to this later. Let's go take a look at Megatron. So here we have Megatron / D-16, and he is personally not my favorite, but he is definitely not bad. We'll go over some detail. He is a very plain Studio Series gray. You know, I really wish they'd start painting more silver on these guys, but I mean, I kind of get it. They're kind of expensive to engineer in the first place, so it would be kind of hard to do that. So, but he's got a lot of really nice detail in here too, which is good. The red always have the red here, but the back of him is actually silver, which I don't know why they paint this backpack silver, because then it really doesn't fit with everything else. Like, as much as I like the silver, but like it just doesn't fit, you know? It's like a nice little color mismatch. Head sculpt, it's not looking bad. It's definitely not spot on to what we saw in the movie like Orion is, but it's definitely not like unrecognizable. You can definitely still recognize who that is supposed to be. Legs, I really like the way they go from, I just love the aesthetic of them, you know, the way that they just go from gray to just straight black, and then how skinny they are. I mean, look at 90% of his body is the legs, and I really like that because that's kind of how he looked in the movie. So yeah, that's kind of what he looks like. You know, he got some nice arms, you know, although his fists are a little weird because they do become the treads, so they do look a little bit weird. Like if you were having someone in a punching pose, you just see the tread, which is indeed a little bit weird. Now turning to articulation, I took all the accessories off just to make it a little bit easier to pose. Head, it's on a swivel joint, so it can look left, it can look right, it can't really tilt unless you kind of like hold it there. You know, if you kind of hold it, you can get it tilting, but cannot look up. But due to transformation, it can look down, so you probably can find a way to recreate that iconic pose from the end of the movie. I think I just did it right there. But then arms, really nice how, you know, they aren't trigger happy. They look like they'd be like really weird, but they do just bend out just like that. Elbows on a double hinge joint, so it can go way past 90. Can also bicep swivel. Mine was really loose. I had to do some super glue on it though, so don't know if that's happened to everybody else's. FYI on there. Wrist rotation, as always. There is a uncompromised waist swivel. It does click a little bit just from the way the legs are made, but you can definitely do it. Legs can kick roughly up to 90, and then they can bend, although they snap into place due to transformation, although they can go to 90. And then there's a little bit of toe pivot due to the transformation, and then ankle rocking. So nothing out of the ordinary when it comes to Studio Series figures. He's definitely not as like jaw-dropping as Optimus was. Now turning to Megatron's accessories, there are in total 5. So the first one we get here is indeed Megatron's jetpack, which we do see him use in the Icon race, but then he continues to use it throughout the movie. The way you install this, there's 2 pegs back here, and there's a peg up here. There's going to be a little tiny hole up here. You just peg this in straight to the back, and then there's a couple itty bitty tabs on the back that you kind of just like snap these into, and then there you go. He's got a jetpack. Again, I'm not 100% sure why they painted that silver and then like nothing else, because it really looks out of place. But the next thing we have is his like little mini, like his like little tiny mini rifle is what I don't really know what you call it. This also does turn into the very front of the tank. So honestly, if you want to have him like have like a little missile launcher, you kind of could. But the way this installs, tiny tab right here, tiny plug right here. You kind of just pop it right in, and there's that. And again, you can kind of have almost have him have like a, almost looks like a small little missile launcher. Yeah, I definitely need to fix this because it, yeah, I need to do some more super glue. Ooh. Yeah, it's pretty much how you peg it in. We do see him use this, so it's not like this is unnecessary. He definitely does use this a couple times in the movie. And then obviously we have the iconic fusion cannon, which I'm so glad has made a return after we haven't really seen it in live action for a very decent amount of time. Well, sorry, not live action, just like mainline Transformers movies in a long time. This just pegs in right into the forearm, and it definitely does look good. I think it should have been like a little bit bigger, or we should have gotten the triple barrel one that we see in the end of the movie, especially since this clearly is based on when he was Megatron and not D-16, aka literally towards the last 5 or 10 minutes of the movie. But then we also have these, which were never actually featured in the movie, but these are pretty much only for robot mode, vehicle mode. These kind of pop onto the little pegs on the side of the jetpack. So it wasn't really in the movie to my knowledge, unless they were, which, correct me if I'm wrong. If they were in the movie, correct me, but I don't think they were. At least not in robot mode. They might have been in vehicle mode, but they were not there in robot mode. But when you get him fully decked out, he definitely does absolutely resemble Megatron. It's really hard to not know this is Megatron. I mean, he's got the gun, he's got the fusion cannon, he's got literally everything. So let's look at his transformation. So for transformation, make it easier, just take these two off. And honestly, just take out the jetpack too. It makes your life easier. But first thing I like to do, you're going to take these fists and you're going to rotate them so that way they line up with the rest of the treads here. And then just leave that. Do the same on the other side. Yep, just like that. Then what you're going to want to do is rotate these 90 degrees to sides. That way you can kind of like bend like this. Use that double hinge joint. There is a couple of, you need to rotate all the way back. And then there's a tab right here. Use that double hinge. And then just snap that in there. And then leave that alone. Do the same on the other side. Rotate it around. Pin it in to that hinge right there. So now it looks like you just cut off his arm. Next thing you want to do is pop out the chest. You literally just pull it forward and it just pops out. Rotate the head in, and then kind of just like leave that. Then make sure the legs are snapped into place. You can then rotate this entire assembly up like this. Kind of like this. I'm still trying to learn this guy's transformation, so sorry if I'm not the best teacher. But then what you're going to do is pull it all the way out, and then the Revenge of the Fallen legs returns, which is really cool to see because they don't use this very often anymore. Like they kind of just have them like fold in, so it's kind of cool to see this, especially as a Bayverse fan. Next thing you're going to want to do is just rotate both of these down here, then just pop this up, rotate the foot all the way in so you have that nice little arch, and then just pull that out just a teeny bit for the clearance, rotate that around, straighten this back out. And then what you're going to notice here is that if you get this out here, this will be able to very nicely sneak right into the bottom of the foot, just like that. Do the same on the other side, pop this up, tilt, rotate, tilt, pop it right back in, so we're left with something looking like this. And we are actually almost done. This guy's a very basic transformation. Then you kind of want to like rotate them out just a little bit, just so there's enough clearance to get this guy in. There's two little tabs on his chest plate that'll plug into these plugs right here. So just go ahead and line those up, plug those in. Then what you're going to want to do is take the shoulders, and without rotating the entire assembly, just simply rotate these down, and then they will peg in right underneath where this is. It's kind of hard to show it on camera because you can't even see the peg there, but you'll be able to feel it kind of peg right in. Do the exact same on the other side. Get that nice and secure. Make sure everything's still secure. And then technically you're done. But what you're gonna want to do is come over here and grab these two, and then towards the front, plug in the actual gun section to the turret right here. And then grab your jetpack And there's this giant tab right here that'll plug into this giant slot. Simply plug that in. And then the same way you plugged it on to the back of the robot mode, you're just gonna simply plug this in. And then boom, you have Megatron's tank mode. And I don't think it looks bad. I mean, I think it looks okay at best though. There are no rolling wheels, which, like, come on guys, no, not a single rolling wheel. It's a little annoying. Also, if you do end up like having the thing tilt up, you can actually see his head in there. So that might not be the most ideal thing. I also just think that the barrel is like almost like too long. You know what I mean? Like, it just almost looks like comically long. And then, like I said, the same thing earlier with the color mismatch right here. It simply just doesn't fit. And I don't understand why they only cast that in silver. I feel like I would have liked maybe some like some knee pads and shoulder pads in silver instead of that. So a little bit of an interesting decision. The gun can move almost all ways, and then obviously these are articulated as well. So you definitely can pose this tank around a little bit more than you would normally be able to in any other vehicle mode. It's still not great though. Now pulling these both out in vehicle mode to compare, you can see they definitely look pretty size accurate. I mean, we don't see them in vehicle mode next to each other very often, but I have a feeling this is pretty accurate. I mean, you can just see how much better Orion's vehicle mode is than this guy. He kind of just like blows up, and then this guy, he's like actually like compact. You know, you can see how everything locks into place properly, and this guy, he kind of just meh. You know what I mean? Definitely not a bad figure by any means, but Orion is just so much better and a better way to start off a line. So wrapping up my review on the two Transformers 1 figures we have, that being Orion Pax / Optimus Prime and D-16 / Megatron. They definitely aren't bad figures, Optimus Prime being the best. And while Megatron isn't great, he is definitely not like a I'm gonna ignore this guy. Definitely try and pick this guy up because he definitely is a really nice what's the word I'm looking for? He's a really nice, I'm sure I'll figure it out, but he's a really nice companion. He's a really nice companion piece with Orion Pax, especially once B-127 and Elita 1 come out, and when Sentinel Prime comes out. That'll be a really sick looking display, and I love Optimus so much, although he definitely does have a couple flaws, like the color, and how small the matrix is, and how very easy it will be to lose it. And D-16 really does not have a lot of paint. So if I had to say pick up one, definitely pick up Optimus. These guys are both selling in stores right now. I found both these guys at Walmart, so they both are still selling in stores. Although you might want to watch out, especially for Optimus, because a lot of people are trying to get their hands on this guy, and you might want to act quick when it comes to Optimus. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Goodbye.